Welcome, everybody. It is Sunday, June 5th, 2022. Beautiful sunny day here in Western Massachusetts. I am Robin, the co-host of the Morgellons Call of the Week. So I'm glad to be here with you and grateful to be here and to give back, because that's what this call is about. And we're giving back because through Richard Kuhn's book, his input, his diet that he discovered over 2 years of research, many people have gotten their lives back or are well on the road to getting their lives back, and that's what this call is all about, recovering from all kinds of mites and springtails and parasites and Morgellons. So anyway, and Richard has, he's been in the trenches with us. He's here every Sunday. He has had Morgellons and mites and springtails and fungus and strongyloides, and he gets it. He totally gets it, and he's had his life back, and he's sharing how to get your life back with others. So it's a wonderful thing Richard's doing. I'm so grateful to be part of it. He never stops researching or learning. He just fairly recently released the 11th edition of his book, and it's amazing. It's amazing. So anyway, at this time, I'd like to introduce Richard, the author of Get Your Life Back from Morgellons and Other Parasites.
Thank you, Robin. It's a pleasure to be here. Today's topic is, I think, a substance that is incredibly powerful, but probably very much underused. And I don't know, I kind of think that maybe because it's so inexpensive that it's discounted, that can't be that effective or that great. What do you think, Robin? Why do you think people don't use it as much as they could and gain value from it?
Yeah, they don't understand. I mean, I didn't even know what it was until maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So,
yeah,
it's underrated and under talked about, and yeah.
Yeah. Diatomaceous Earth. Why you've used it? Tell us how you've used it and what benefit you've gotten from it.
So many benefits. So first of all, I always recommend getting food grade diatomaceous earth because it has so many uses. So you can sprinkle it around in corners and on your floors. If you have a pet, you can rub it in their fur. It will stop fleas and ticks and mites. You can sprinkle it on their bedding. If you're struggling with parasites, you can sprinkle it on the inside of your clothes. You can sprinkle it on your bed. You can rub it on your body. It helps heal lesions. And then it's an amazing cleanse. You can make a cleanse out of, I think it's like a teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of food-grade diatomaceous earth in a glass of water. And you do it twice a day, and you slowly, over 10 days, build up to 2 tablespoons. And then you stop, and you will experience a very intense cleanse. As well, it works as well as Fen-Ben or any of those prescription drugs. And then you can just, take it occasionally. It's a very
So you've used it internally, and externally.
I have, and it's non-toxic as long as you don't breathe it. It's not good to breathe, but you can make a spray. If I tried to make your spray, and I could never get it to go through the spray of the knot. I made it too thick, so I have one of those puffers, and I will puff it around, like I'll put it on windowsills or in corners or under furniture, under beds. And yeah, I love it. It's been a very important part of everything I've done to get my life back.
Right, thanks. Mary, you're a proponent of it as well. Share us your experience with DE.
Well, the first time I heard you talk about it, I had no idea what it was. And I bought a bag and started using it in the house, and it's amazing. And I will also mix in some baking soda with it when I put it in my clothes, because the baking soda seems to also kill some things that the DE doesn't, or it kills different stages of the springtails. And I use it all the time. Sometimes when I started and they were in my head and I couldn't keep my head wet all day, I would put some DE on my head, but you have to be careful not to rub it because it'll cut your hair off. And when you were talking about doing it internally, I was petrified because I have some disorders that my organs aren't real strong, and but I decided to try it anyway, and I'm with Robin all the way. It's great stuff. I mean, I just haven't found anything about it that's bad. It works really well. Ever since I started putting it down, I have absolutely no adult springtails in the house. My cat is half feral, and she doesn't like much, and she's not thrilled when I put the DE on her, but she does tolerate it, and it keeps down the ticks and mites and fleas on her, and it's really great stuff.
Thank you. So the first order of business in fighting these organisms is to get Diatomaceous Earth. We have it in our online store. It'll be available tomorrow in 2-pound packages. You can go to a Tractor Supply. There may be other farm supply houses. Tractor Supply is the only one that I'm familiar with. And you can buy it in bulk. You can buy 25 pounds for like $25. It's really economical. But I mean, even 2 pounds is going to last a long time and go a long ways. So it's the first thing that I recommend as defense against any kind of organisms, whether we're dealing with Morgellons or mites or Columbella or any kind of organism. How does it work? Well, Diatomaceous Earth is like shards. I mean, people often tell me that Morgellons feels like when they're sleeping on shards of glass. That's a description that some people tell me that Morgellons feels like. Well, can you imagine these organisms sleeping on shards? That's what it does. It cuts them up. It disembers them, destroys them completely. Particularly, I mean, even with bed bugs, what you do, simple, is if you have a 4-poster bed, you get like a cottage cheese container and cut it so that it's only about maybe 1 inch high. You sprinkle some diatomaceous earth in the bottom. You lift the bed up and put the post down in the center. So that means any bed bug has to climb up that 1 or 2 inches and down and across the moat, and it won't get there. It's like a moat, you know, like a castle with a moat. Well, the bed bug won't make it and will be totally chopped up, and when you look in there, that's what you're going to find, the fossil of the bed bug, because it's not going to make it across the moat. It's interesting because years ago when bed bugs were a really big problem, particularly in the New York City area, and everybody seemed to be having a deal with them, my mother picked them up from a senior citizen place that she was going during the day and brought them home, and we got them in the house. And we got the exterminator to come out to deal with them, and he used a chemical spray. Now, I asked him how it works, and it's amazing. The bed bug crawls across the chemical spray, up the bed, onto your body, and sucks its blood, its food, and then when it goes back to where it came from, it is so full, its tummy drags on the floor or the rug, and that's what kills it. Well, isn't that kind of strange? You got to be the bait to kill them. I mean, they got to feed on you before they get dead. Well, by using a moat, well, it's amazing that you don't have to be the bait. So, treating bed bugs, you treat the bed. You use a bed bug cover, the vinyl zipper cover to keep them in and seal them in. The same thing we do with any other organism. Robin talked about the difficulty spraying it. Well, she probably used too much. You take like a 32-ounce spray bottle, an empty one. You can buy one for $1 in any dollar store or any place, maybe $1.25 now. And you put in a tablespoon or two. I think the DE people say you can put in 3, but you don't need to put in 3 tablespoons, just 1 or 2 tablespoons. And fill it up with water, shake it well, and spray. So you want to spray, like with bed bugs, you want to spray around the floor area, around the walls, around the electrical sockets. So they go in the walls there as well. So that if they come out, well, they're going to have to walk across the DE, and it will turn them to shards. So it works that way with columbella or any kind of mite or any kind of organism that comes in contact with it. It is totally shredded. And that's the end of it. So, you know, my experience was kind of interesting. I initially, if you read chapter 1, I initially read that ladybugs like to eat columbella. So I bought a whole bunch of ladybugs and released them, and then later on dusted diatomaceous earth around, not realizing. And so 2 days later, the ladybugs were gone, you know, and so it's like I killed my own ladybugs, which was the wrong thing to do. But anyway, so that's how you use it. Now, we're making recommendations here, and I don't want anybody, especially the federal agencies, to misconstrue what we are doing here. This program is for educational purposes only. The FDA requires us to inform everybody that is attending this program that we are not trained to, in other words, take our recommendations, whether it be the King Diet or any of our recommendations, and before you employ them, thoroughly discuss them with your medical doctor. So talk about DE, you know, Diatomaceous Earth, to make sure that any health problems you're presently experiencing won't be a problem. Well, for instance, with DE, you might have COPD problems, breathing problems. And obviously your doctor's going to say, hey, you want to be very cautious. And I'll tell you that too. You don't want this stuff in your lungs. You don't want to go around breathing it. So these are legitimate cautions, and this is why the FDA has these rules, so that your doctor could warn you if we weren't smart enough to do it, to avoid breathing it. The AMA and the FDA requires to tell you that we are not trained physicians, so therefore we are not trained to diagnose or treat or cure or mitigate any disease. That what we are allowed to do is educate you how to use the King Diet to your advantage and benefit, how to clean the organisms out of your skin, how to clean them out of your environment, and that can be a challenge, okay? And how to build health and immune functioning through our targeted supplements that we often discuss and talk about on these programs as well. So that's how you use DE on the external side of things. So you can dust it, but as I caution, in fact, you can buy one of those garden dusters for about $30, I guess, in Home Depot. It's got a plunger and you can put it in, dust it. Again, you're putting it in the air and exposing yourself to breathing it. I bought one of them and then I lost it. And then what I did was I just took a sock, a white sock, and I put some DE in it and I just shook it around. Robin talked about putting it in your clothing. And that was something I often did. I would invert my clothing inside out and dust my clothing and then turn them right side out and then wear them then. So that's another way that you can use it. And you can go the next step, and you can also, when you invert your clothing, spray them with ammonia and then turn them right side out and wait about 20 minutes. Let the fumes, it's the fumes that do the work. Let the ammonia dry and the fumes do the work. Won't take any more than about 20 minutes before you wear your clothing. So now internally, I think there's if you've heard of Dr. Carjou, who is no longer in practice, he claimed that the components of diatomaceous earth actually contribute to Morgellons. And, that's a bunch of bull crap. We've been using DE in dealing with Morgellons for oodles and oodles and oodles, and it does not contribute or make the symptoms of Morgellons worse. And when I sent out the update, there was a link to a blog post that was done back in July 26th of 2020. And I encourage all of you to click on that. I'm just going to go through it a bit and talk about some of these points, but it's there for you. If you have any questions about how to use it, it's very detailed. So I refer you to it. A parasitic cleanse using diatomaceous earth. Robin was talking about this a little bit earlier. 1 teaspoon of diatomaceous earth in a glass of water an hour before or 2 hours after a meal. Idea is on an empty stomach. Stir it up. Hey, now this is also when it's a good idea to do the baking soda. So if you have received my protocol for Morgellons, it also suggests part of the protocol is to alkalize your system with a teaspoon of baking soda between meals. So you can mix the two together and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Now, I imagine, I haven't tried this yet, but that is rather bland, you might say, baking soda and DE, somebody try this out and give me a report. And that is cocoa. Cocoa is probably one of the world's most valuable foods in terms of it being a prebiotic, and we talk about prebiotics often because we don't deal with probiotics, we deal with prebiotics. So it's good to build gut health. It's good to also free radical. It helps reduce free radical damage. So it is incredibly valuable. So you can buy a good cocoa in any health food store. We also have it in our online store. And you might start by taking maybe a half a teaspoon of cocoa, put in a little bit of hot water to kind of get it mixed up. Add in some stevia, real stevia. So you can get stevia in any health food store. Just make sure you read the label and make sure it's only stevia. We have sweet leaf stevia in our store, which is called only stevia and is probably one of the best stevias available. So mix in some stevia with the cocoa, add the water, and then stir in your a teaspoon of diatomaceous earth and your teaspoon of baking soda. It might be, tell me how it tastes. Tell me how it works. You get 3 for 1. I've never tried it. In fact, I only thought of it just as we started this program. Today, as Rob was talking about, adding baking soda to the diatomaceous earth, and my brain said, wow, let's flavor it. How about some cocoa? So try it out and let me know whether it's a good thing or whether I'm off the mark. Okay, try it out. So you start out with 1 teaspoon mixed in 8 ounces of water with baking soda and or cocoa sweetened with stevia. And you do this every day for 10 days and increase your amount of DE slowly up to 2 teaspoons if you like. So you start out with 1 teaspoon and maybe go to a teaspoon and a half, so you build it up. Once you hit the 10 days, take a break for 7 days. Then repeat that again for 10 days. Now, you may, at this point, they say you may see some interesting stools being passed. That's just a warning. Your stool may not look like it normally does. So this is what the people of DE, the supplier of our diatomaceous earth in the past, has recommended.
Richard.
Yes.
I just wanted to mention when I would do it, I would make lemonade with either fresh lemon or lemon juice and stevia, and then I'd add the diatomaceous earth and baking soda to that. And that tasted pretty good.
Fantastic. You flavored it. So, yeah, that's the whole idea, flavored. And lemonade, lemons are great because they alkalize your system as well.
Right.
The idea also is to drink plenty of water. I think one of the biggest problems all of us have is that we just don't drink enough water. We don't keep our system hydrated well enough. Then there's a reference to a book, Thule Rose, in her book, Going Green Using Diatomaceous Earth, suggests taking DE 10 days on and 10 days off for 90 days. Though many people have found different strategies that work for them. So there are different ways. You can go on the internet and look up other protocols as well. The idea is you just don't do it for a week or two and then stop. Some do it for years at a time. Experiment and see what works for you. And you talked about DE with your pets. Absolutely. One of the most important things that you can do if your pets are affected or dealing with is to coat their fur, right, thank you. I was thinking hair. Coat their fur and the bedding with diatomaceous earth. And beyond all, make sure it's food-grade diatomaceous earth. Using the regular grade, I think, could be toxic and a big problem for you. So, okay, anything you'd like to add before we may have some questions or people who would like to share about DE?
No, I think we've covered it.
Yeah, Mary, how about you? Anything you'd like to add?
No, I'm good.
Good. Well, are there any people that gave us the last 4 digits that would you like to open the line up to now?
I have tried the diatomaceous earth, and I have several different organisms, at least 5 or 7 different ones. And what I found out was that once I bought it at the Tractor Supply store, and I used it, and I put it all over my body, also like a powder. And that's when everything came out of my body. And everything was just poking out of my body. And you could see what kind of, things I have. And, but as my face cleared up, I used it as like a powder for my face. And that actually worked and made my face look more relaxed. And, but the thing is, you say that, how do you say it? Columbola, whatever it's called. The little hair-like things. Those things, stayed. They got into the diatomaceous earth, and they stayed alive.
Okay. Are you saying you use DE, Diatomaceous Earth? Is that what you were using?
Yeah.
Okay,
Food
good.
grade.
So you noticed that by applying it to your skin, there's just stuff started coming out.
Yeah.
Great.
And it calmed my skin down.
And it calmed
my skin down.
Yeah, it's cleaning your skin. So yeah, that's great. I haven't actually heard anybody get results like that with just DE on their skin. It usually destroys anything that's on their skin, but that's wonderful that it worked that way for you.
But she said that she didn't think it killed the springtails. My experience has been if it's thick enough and you put it somewhere, it will.
Well,
they're really tiny, so
okay. When we're dealing with springtails, when we're dealing with a lot of these organisms, we're not just using Diatomaceous Earth alone by itself, okay? Because unless you are on the King diet and make that diet work, you're going to be a walking, breeding parasite machine, all right? So the Diatomaceous Earth or anything that you use on your skin is going to be bringing them out, but you're going to keep replenishing them because you're eating foods that are feeding the ones that are breeding under your skin. So it's wonderful that the Diatomaceous Earth helped bring it out, but to really deal with the columbola, the diet is critical. Absolutely. So the first thing you want to do is get that diet to work, make that diet work. Years ago, I used to say, try the diet. I was a nice guy. Oh, just try the diet. And then I said, do the diet. I did that for a while, do the diet. And now I say, because over the years, we've had so many people share on this program that just doing the diet wasn't enough. They had to make the diet work. They had to figure out themselves, like I figured out how to make the diet work for me. They had to make the diet work for them. Some of them discovered that they cannot have oils, period. One lady, for instance, no oils at all, or rice only a certain time of day. Some people can't have spelt, or they can't have rice, or they can't have coffee. You have to figure out how to make the diet work. And the good news is when they put in the task of figuring it out by keeping a diary or whatever, how to make the diet work, their physical health improved. The symptoms diminished dramatically. So it's no longer try the diet or do the diet. It's make the diet work. Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else, Chris?
Anna, you could go.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here for us. So grateful. Anyway, I've been taking the Diatomaceous Earth internally for a bit now. 1 tablespoon I have built up to, and I've also been using it on my gums. And my concern is sometimes in the past I put it on my scalp, but what happens if it was to fall inadvertently on my eyes, because it is abrasive, right? And I have it spread all over my vanity area because there's been some leakage where I am here, unfortunately. And I, hopefully to kill some of the mold spores. But I'm just, wondering, because I've been taking it not on an empty stomach, because of the way my life is. I'm trying to change my circadian rhythms here, but there's information that it can bind other nutrients if it's not taken. I mean, there's a lot of different views on it about how to take it, with meals, without meals. But like you say, it's finding what works.
It has to be on an empty stomach.
It does, because it's just hard for me the way.
Excuse me, while you're talking, I had some other ideas, but you talk along.
No, please, I welcome you. I welcome your feedback on that, because my gums, I think it's helped my gums, but it's abrasive.
Let's stop for a moment and let me comment on what you've said, because by the time you get done, I forget what I'm going to say. All right.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Little breaks while you're talking. Let's take little breaks. First of all, a thought that came to mind Many people are dealing with constipation, and this is said by taking diatomaceous earth internally is also beneficial for constipation. It helps relieve that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other thing, it is an internal parasitic cleanse, as we talk about. And in my protocol, it's one of three things that I recommend for an internal parasitic cleanse. Now, the diatomaceous earth goes into your digestive system, and it can actually pass into your blood system, so it helps clean up your blood as well. Now, we don't just say, okay, do one thing and that's it, because we know we're dealing with sometimes some very resistant and hideous organisms. And so another part of our parasitic cleanse is consuming our mouthwash. Our mouthwash, after you clean your mouth with it, you hold it in your mouth as long as you can. You swish it around. You can kind of draw it up into your sinuses or whatever you can do, and then you swallow it. It is like taking charcoal. The only thing is, it's in liquid form. It is carbon, bottom line. It's got some peppermint with it. It's got some cinnamon with it. All good stuff to help do an internal cleanse. Again, the carbon, the liquid carbon, can also pass through the barrier in the intestinal tract and into the bloodstream and help cleanse the blood as well. And then the third thing we recommend is fenbendazole, to make sure all the bases are covered, because these intestinal parasites, mostly nematodes, can also migrate up into your throat and into your neck and head and areas as well. And the fenbendazole will get not only the intestinal parasites, but from experience, many people report it also gets into other areas as well. So, and the fenbendazole, we have the site in Mexico. It's called shop, the number 4, S-H-O-P, the number 4, Morgellons.com is where you can get that. And I think they recommend like a 444 milligram capsule, but you can go to the site and read the recommendations there. I also did a blog post a few weeks ago about how to use these different medications as well. So you can look back in your emails and take a look at that. Now, as far as the gums go, I can't imagine any problem. I mean, the diatomaceous earth is going to shred any organisms that are in your gums or around your gums. It's not going to hurt your gums. It's not going to hurt the cells of your body. Otherwise, you wouldn't want to consume it, okay? So it's going to help clean your mouth. So it's going to be that. Now, as far as the eyes, I wouldn't, we talk about not breathing it. If you get it into your eyes, it's going to be a mild irritant. You can wash it out. I wouldn't think it's going to hurt your eyes, but you'd want to flush it out of your eyes. Again, though, if you have organisms in your eyes, it's going to shred them. So, I'm not an expert on that. I don't know really how to say that. I can say that, yeah, if you got organisms in your eyes and you got diatomaceous earth in your eyes, they're going to be shredded. But I don't know if you'd want the diatomaceous earth in your eyes. I think it'd be very uncomfortable, and there are far more effective ways of getting these organisms out than using diatomaceous earth. So please, no one, I'm not ever recommending diatomaceous earth in the eyes. Flush your eyes and get it out.